Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to today's video. We're just gonna be sitting down and chatting about some fantasy books that I personally think are underrated. All of these books that I'm going to talk about today, I just think deserve so many more reads, deserve so many more ratings on Goodreads, and some of them are going to be hear me outs, but let's just get straight into it. For the most part, these books have, let's say, less than like 100,000 ratings on Goodreads, and to me, these books deserve like a million. So we're gonna start with the first one. And I think you guys already know the first book that I have to talk about in this video. If you know me at all, please put your guesses in the comments down below, because the first book on this list is, of course, A Song to Drown Rivers by Liang. Ever since reading this book, sometime I think around last summer, I have not been able to stop talking about this book. And I'm sure you guys are so sick of hearing me talk about it, but please just read this book, and once I see it, I don't know, start to gain more traction and popularity, maybe I'll finally stop. Maybe. I'm not gonna guarantee anything. But if you somehow still do not know what this book is, that means you haven't watched enough of my videos, first of all. But this is a historical fantasy-ish romance by Liang. We follow Chinese mythology here. This is based on a true Chinese legend of Cixi and Fonda. Cixi is, I think she's one of the 4 ancient beauties of China. She's just very, very well known for being beautiful. She grows up not very well off, you know, she lives in sort of a small village, when one day Fonda, who is like one of the royal generals, shows up, notices her beauty, and decides that he can recruit her and use her to help seduce the enemy king and sort of take them out from within. And so we go on with a story that's filled with betrayal, that's filled with forbidden love, that is just absolutely tragically beautiful. It's beautifully written. This is my absolute favorite Liang book. Her other books are more sort of like rom-com, YA, very like cheesy, but like, you know, in a rom-com way, but her writing absolutely transformed in this book. It's so good, it's so poetic, it's so beautiful. And what I really love the most about this book, I mean, I love a lot of things about this book, but I love that Liang brought back real yearning in this book. There are so many romances out there that just, I don't feel any yearning from them. But this one, if you want like true yearning, A Song to Drown Rivers is the book for you. And yes, as I mentioned, this book is one of those that is tragically beautiful, so it has one of those endings that will make you cry, and I absolutely love that in a book. So A Song to Drown Rivers, you will not ever see me stop talking about this book, so definitely read it. I checked Goodreads the other day and was absolutely shocked that this book still only has 18,000 ratings. I feel like this one deserves so much more, and I will not stop talking about this book until it reaches at least like 100,000 ratings on Goodreads. I am Liang's #1 fangirl. All right, our second book that we have here has even less ratings on Goodreads. This one has about 6,000 ratings on Goodreads, which is absolutely baffling to me. Like, yes, on one hand, 6,000 is a large number, but when you pair it up with popular books that we hear so much about, it just makes me sad that not enough people have read this book. And that is Sorcery and Small Magics by Maiga Doocy. This one is more of a cozy fantasy. If you're into like maybe the Emily Wilde series, if you like Olivia Atwater's Half a Soul, that kind of genre, you may love this book as well. In this one, we have a little bit of an academic setting. So what is it called? It's not dark academia, but it's light academia. And we follow Leo Vander Lovage, who is an absolute master of small magics, meaning he can pull off these sort of like little tiny small charms, but anything that is more significant magic or anything that could be seen as somewhat useful, he fails at. He can't do it. And in this magic system, we have like sort of 2 streams of magic. On one stream, we have, I think they're called scribes or scrives or something. But basically on one side, we have the writers of the spells, and the other stream of magic are people that can actually execute the spells. In this world, everything kind of belongs in this sort of balance. So we don't have any one person that can do magic by themselves. You need a separate person to write the spells and a separate person to execute them. That's how everything stays in check. So Leo Vander is in school, and in their classes, they get put into pairs, one writer and one spellcaster, and Leo Vander gets paired with Sebastian Grimm, who has been one of his longtime rivals at the school. He is the grumpy to Leo Vander's sunshine. They just clash in every single way. But one day in class, disaster strikes. Something goes terribly wrong with the spell, and Leo Vander finds himself bound to Grimm and finds himself forced to obey every single command that Grimm gives him. This is an absolute dilemma, obviously. He cannot be bound to his longtime rival this way, so the two of them decide to go into the woods to find this like long-lost sorcerer who seems to be the only person that can help them out of this predicament and who might possibly know the counterspell. So we go on this journey. It's one of those cozy fantasies where everything feels very whimsical, just very cozy, but also there is an interesting story that is happening behind the scenes. I find a lot of the time with cozy fantasy, it can just seem like all vibes, no plot. And personally, I don't love that about cozy fantasy, but if you give me a cozy feeling fantasy book with a good plot to back it up, I absolutely love it. I eat it up. And so yeah, I absolutely loved this. There is a queer romance in this, and yeah, it's just cozy. It gave me all the fuzzy feelings. This is the first in maybe a trilogy. I know it's a series. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but absolutely fell in love with it, and I'm looking forward to the next book. Okay, this next book has definitely more ratings than the first two I talked about, and I have seen this one circulating on the internet, but I think it deserves way more reads than it has, and that is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. This one is currently sitting at around 59,000 ratings, and this deserves at least 500,000. This book is so good. If you loved something like the Poppy War, but want to see the Poppy War mixed with Avatar: The Last Airbender, this one. Read this one. We follow a mother and a son who live in Kaigen, which is this very like isolated island of a country. They seem to be kind of stuck in their traditional ways, and the rest of the world is seemingly just kind of like ahead of them, doesn't agree with sticking to tradition. And so we have some political conflict. The son, Mamoru, is currently going to school to train to be like one of the protectors of Kaigen. He is from a very well-known family in the village. They are like very known to be the best protectors. They are the only bloodline to have mastered something called, what is it called? Something about a sword. It's called like the ice sword or something. I can't remember what, oh, dang it, I can't remember what the thing is actually called. But there's this very like signature move that this like family, this bloodline does, and only they have been able to accomplish it. Oh, the Whispering Blade. I think that's what it's called. So Mamoru is training and he's trying to achieve this so he can live up to his father, live up to his family name. And our second POV that we follow is his mom, who has married into this family, who had, let's say, maybe other dreams for her life, but feels kind of stuck in this position where her only goal is to basically procreate and extend this powerful bloodline and make sure that she raises these powerful boys, these powerful sons. We get into this very war-torn political story. It is one of those books that does not shy away from tough topics. So it is one where I think you should check for trigger warnings if you know you are particularly sensitive to things, especially that have to do with war. There are some very serious topics that are brought up and discussed in this book, very similar to the Poppy War, but it is such an incredible story. It is one of those books that's also, it seems intimidating just when you hear about the subject matter, but it's actually a fantasy world that it's very easy to grasp. The writing is very, very approachable, very quick to read, and I think this deserves all the praise, The Sword of Kaigen. And actually, while I picked up that book for this video, I also just feel like I need to include Blood Over Brighthaven, also by M.L. Wang, the same author. I think this one is sitting at around 40,000 reviews on Goodreads and definitely deserves way, 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 way more than that. It's another, you know, fairly traumatizing book where, again, if you know you have certain triggers, definitely check for those before you jump into this. But I just love how M.L. Wang does not shy away from these topics, really tackles them, really embeds these messages into her books alongside with really riveting stories. I will say, I think the character and the kind of personal relationships were a lot stronger in The Sword of Kaigen, and this one was more like the commentary on politics and all that was a lot stronger in this one. It's more of a political rage story. But this one is a dark academia, sort of alchemical environment, definitely more high tech. And in this one we follow Siona, who is a young female who is training to be the first female high mage ever in this world. There's never been a female who has risen up to that ranking of academia, and she wants to do it. She wants to be the first. We're in this world that is definitely very prejudiced against that happening, so she's fighting against all odds. But along her journey, she gets higher and higher up in the rankings and starts uncovering these very, very dark secrets behind the government, behind how they power their city. Ooh, this one, it's a little gruesome, I will say that, but such a powerful, hard-hitting story, and one that will make you think, but be ready for the emotional trauma. drama. This next book is from one of my favorite authors, V.E. Schwab. I am shocked that The Fragile Threads of Power doesn't have more reads than it does. This is currently sitting at 38,000 ratings on Goodreads, and I don't understand why it has so few. If you don't know what The Fragile Threads of Power is, this is the start to a spin-off series based on the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. And just for reference, A Darker Shade of Magic has around 400,000 ratings on Goodreads, so the fact that this one has so much less is very surprising to me, because I know that A Darker Shade of Magic is such a beloved book. I love it as well, and the trilogy as a whole is absolutely incredible, so I am just really surprised that not that many people jumped onto this spin-off series. If you loved A Darker Shade of Magic, let me just sell this book to you. We follow our favorite characters. This is set maybe like, I think it's 7 years after the original Darker Shade of Magic trilogy ends. So we're following literally our favorite characters. We have Kel, we have Lila, we have Rhi or Rye, I don't know how to say his name. We have Luke. We have Luke in this book. Okay, if that's not a selling point, I don't know what is, because he is one of my favorite characters of all time. We even have some hints of Holland in this book, and it really feels like a direct continuation from the original Shades of Magic trilogy. So if you loved that world, if you love those characters, definitely give this one a read. I had so much fun with this one, just seeing the continuation of where our characters are 7 years later. There are some additional characters added in this spin-off series, so there's more to learn, there's more to have fun with, and I personally feel at the end of the Shades of Magic trilogy, even though it felt like a pretty satisfying conclusion, V.E. Schwab definitely left some room to expand on the world, and that's where this book goes. I just really need more people to read this series, so V.E. Schwab feels compelled to write the next one, because I'm just waiting for more in this world. I love it so much. So yeah, I'm just really surprised at the amount of ratings this book has compared to the original trilogy. I feel like anyone who liked the original trilogy should jump on this one as well. This next book does have more ratings. This one is sitting at 93,000 on Goodreads, but I just think we need a little bump. Let's get her over that 100K mark, and that is Six Crimson Cranes. I love this book. This book has such a special place in my heart. It is the start to a duology with a prequel that's attached to it, so it's sort of like a 3-book collection. And I will say, I know I'm recommending these books, but I will say the other two in this series did not really live up to how much I loved Six Crimson Cranes, so you could read this honestly as a standalone, and I think you'd be okay. But this book in particular, I really love. It has fairy tale vibes. We follow a main character that has a softer kind of a strength. So if you are feeling sick of reading about the same strong female lead that's a warrior, that is like amazing and skilled in combat and stuff, try this one out for a change of pace. I love the warrior combat FMCs, but I just, you know, as I read all these books, I like things that are refreshing or a little bit of a change of pace, and that is one of the things that I definitely really love about this book. We follow Shiori in this book. She is the princess of Kiata, and at the beginning of the book, she has been arranged to be engaged to this prince from like another country, very much for political reasons. You know, her country needs an ally, and so they set her up with this prince. She's like, I've never met this guy in my life, like why am I gonna marry him? So she sort of rebels against the idea, and on the day of her betrothal ceremony, she meets a dragon. And then from this incident, she starts getting into all sorts of trouble. Her 6 brothers end up having this curse placed on them where every day they turn into cranes, therefore 6 crimson cranes. Those are her brothers. And she also has a curse placed on her where she cannot talk. So she finds herself powerless, she finds herself alone, and she has to try and navigate the world to try and lift this curse both off herself and off her brothers. We definitely, yeah, follow a very fairy tale story here. I love the fairy tale vibes. I think if you loved something like Once Upon a Broken Heart, let's say, plus some elements of Asian folklore, this would be the perfect book for you. I definitely love this one, so let's get this one over 100K. Okay, this next book is the start of a very long series, but stay with me, okay? The first book in the series has 92,000 ratings on Goodreads, but I think a lot of those ratings are old and are actually from an old version of this book, which is very different. And I think you might know what I'm, you know, sort of getting at with this next book now, but for perspective, the amount of ratings on the second book drops to 37,000 and then keeps dropping from there. I think the series just deserves all the hype in the world, and that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Maybe we can start propping these books up. This is The Bone Season. It is the start of a 7-book series. 5 books are currently out, and I've talked about the series many times on my channel, especially recently because I am currently reading through the series. But if you don't know the deal with this series. This was released, I think it's like 12 years ago at this point, but at the 10th anniversary of the bone season of this first book, Samantha Shannon decided, hey, I'm gonna rewrite the first 4 books in the series and re-release them as completely new books, because she was like, I love this series, I love this world, I want to see it to completion. But over the 10 years or so, she was like, yeah, my writing style has improved so much since the first book. I feel like I need to rewrite this book to give the story the writing it deserves. And for an author to do that, to look back at an old work and be like, hey, I love this story, but I hate my writing, and then to go on and rewrite the entire book, not only rewrite the entire book, but the first 4 books in the series, is absolutely dedication that is so impressive to me. And I am so glad she rewrote this book, because I did not read the original version, but from what I've heard from other people, from reviews and stuff, people who have read both have been like, yeah, I read the first one but wasn't sold on it because the way the story was told, just like, it didn't do the story justice, it didn't draw me in, it was very confusing. But the reread just transforms the entire experience completely. So I think with the re-release of these books, I want to see more people get into the series. I have currently only read 2 of them. I really enjoyed both of them. I have a couple more of them on my TBR cart ready to go. So I can't speak on the series as a whole yet, but so far I am loving the experience. I think these books are amazing, and yeah, I want to see more people talking about this book, because I don't think I've ever seen another YouTube video in particular of someone reading this book or talking about this book or mentioning this book. I feel like it's only me. And maybe I just haven't reached those creators on my For You page yet, but yeah, the bone season. I feel like this deserves so much more hype. And this next book, I think, actually has gotten quite a lot of hype recently, but when I checked how many ratings it has on Goodreads, I feel like it deserves way more. So this book is currently sitting at around 92,000 ratings, and that just like shocked me, because the book in question is The Will of the Many by James Islington. This book is incredible. It is one of those books that has such like a full feeling world, and also just has a story that will blow your mind at the end. The cliffhanger at the end of this book is crazy. We follow an orphan named Vis. He was born wrong place, wrong time, when one day this higher up guy finds him and says, hey, I'm gonna adopt you. I'm gonna put you into this very prestigious school to train, but in exchange you have to spy on certain people for me. So he finds himself thrust into this like high society academy where he feels so out of place, and not only does he have to try and like rise up in the rankings in the school, which is very hard to do, but he also has to spy on these certain very high up people. And yeah, he starts learning more about the world, more about the government, and how corrupt everyone is. And yeah, the ending of this book is just absolutely crazy. It's one of those twists that I did not see coming, which is very rare for me. And I'm shocked that this has under 100,000 ratings. I feel like it deserves 1 million. I feel like this book deserves as many reads as Brandon Sanderson books get, because it is definitely on that level. So if you're craving a really good fantasy, The Will of the Many. This next book has 88,000 ratings, and again, I just think this one deserves a lot more. That is Jade City by Fonda Leigh, and I'm using Jade War as a placeholder for the book, which is the second book in the series, because I read Jade City on my Kindle and I don't have the physical copy. So pretend that this book is green and pretend that it says Jade City on the front. This is another book that I'm actually, like, again, I'm shocked it has less than 100,000 ratings, because I have seen people talk about this one, and I don't know if it's maybe just people in my circle that read this book and it hasn't like expanded outside of those circles. But if you loved something like Six of Crows, I think you would really like this one, because it has this sort of same backdrop with gangs, very, I don't know, turf wars. And there are actually a lot of similarities between our environment. So in both books we follow different gang members with different, hierarchy statuses. There's a lot of political scheming in this book, and we actually also have a sort of like new rogue drug that is spreading around that enhances the people with magic in this book, which obviously is very similar to Six of Crows with, what is it called? The Yurta. Very similar setup in this one, but the big difference is I feel like with Six of Crows we were very focused on more of the heist plot. In Jade City it's very much more about the gang politics. This is another series that I have not read all the way through yet. I've only read the first book and I'm excited to get into the second one, but I absolutely loved the first book. Fonda Leigh is really good at giving you really intricate, complex characters. These characters are on another level. Yeah, I'm excited to continue on in the series. I think you guys should read it too. This next book only has 30,000 ratings on Goodreads, and that is Five Broken Blades by Corland. This was shocking to me because I feel like, again, like in my circles, I see this book circulating a lot, maybe because it's just stunning. Look at that sprayed edge. But I see it a lot on social media, and so when I checked on Goodreads, I was like, This only has 30,000 ratings. This is classified as a romantasy. It doesn't follow the classic romantasy storyline where we have like, you know, a female main character and we have a shadow daddy and they're enemies to lovers. Like we don't have that setup. This is a multi-POV book. I think this one actually also has a lot of similarities to Six of Crows in a different way that Jade City does. I think just like the constant switching of so many POVs and having this plot kind of be like, it's very heisty. It gave Six of Crows in that way. The writing style is very different, but yeah, it kind of gave Six of Crows in that sense. In this book, we follow 5 different liars who have been mysteriously hired to assassinate the king. All of these blades are very untrusting characters because they are all sort of working in, I don't know, not reputable jobs, let's say. Like we have an assassin, a strong arm, like a thief, like a poison master, like they're all in that sort of career path. So first of all, none of them trust each other because they're all used to working on their own and none of them know truly who they've been hired by. So they're on this heist and they're trying to work together to pull off this really difficult heist and assassination, but none of them trust each other. So they're all like pretending to trust each other and pretending to work with each other, but they're all holding a little something back. So we get the story that is filled with betrayal. The end of this book is like insane with all the betrayals that come out. It's a very interesting dynamic between the characters. And because it's multi-POV, you just get little pieces of each character and what they're thinking and what they're planning, and it doesn't all come out until the end of the book. So I found the first book to be so fun to read, and I have the second one on my TBR cart ready to go. So this one I think definitely deserves lots and lots and lots of hype and deserves more reads for sure. Okay, these last two I'm going to talk about are definitely more hear me out because these ones do have a lot of ratings on Goodreads, and I think a lot of people have read these books. But okay, I'm going to explain why these are on the list. We have King of Scars and we have Shadow and Bone. I know, these are very popular. I get it. But what I was shocked to see is that Six of Crows, which is definitely the most hyped duology in this Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo, has around 1 million ratings on Goodreads, like over 1 million ratings, whereas the third book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which comes before Six of Crows, only has around 500,000 ratings, and King of Scars has around like 220,000 ratings, which are both definitely much less than the Six of Crows duology. And so I think both of these series that are a part of that overall Leigh Bardugo Grishaverse, that universe, deserve way more reads, way more hype. I was one of those people that, you know, I fell for the Six of Crows hype, so that's the first book I picked up in the Grishaverse, and although I really enjoyed that duology, I truly believe now after reading this Shadow and Bone trilogy that comes before, I would have gotten so much more out of that Six of Crows duology, and I'm kind of mad at myself for not reading these ones first. Now, after reading these ones, I kind of want to reread that duology because I feel like I did not get the full experience. I'm just overall shocked that half the readers of Six of Crows went in like me, blind, not knowing this world, and just after reading this trilogy, I have so much more respect for Six of Crows because I have that world building, I have that setup now, I have a bigger view of that universe. I personally think that if you have not read Six of Crows yet, definitely read Shadow and Bone first. You will get so much more out of it, and if you have read the Six of Crows duology and have not read this original trilogy, read it. And then for King of Scars, this is a duology that is set after the events of Six of Crows and follows a couple of the characters that are in Six of Crows. It's written more in that Six of Crows style where Shadow and Bone is written first person. King of Scars has that third person multi-POV setup that Six of Crows does. So if you prefer that writing style, maybe this one is more for you, but this one follows a mixture of characters between Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows. And I've read the first book in this duology. I love it so much. I will eat up anything in this universe, I think. So if you loved Six of Crows, please read these 2 books. But yeah, that's all the books I wanted to talk about today. So I hope there were at least a few books in this video that maybe you haven't read and you feel interested in reading. And if you actually have read all of these books in this video, great job. You have impeccable taste, and I hope this video was at least entertaining for you to watch. If you did like this video, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know some of your favorite fantasy reads that you think are underrated. Maybe I should read your underrated recommendations. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!